Hello and welcome to UPSC Warriors by Unacademy. This is Nandini, your educator for the day, who is here to discuss a very important aspect of the civil services examination, which is answer writing. So, what happens is that a lot of people struggle to write the answers in the stipulated time, and that's where aspirants, majorly fail. Initially, this particular task was taken up very lightly by the people as they thought that covering prelims and clearing prelims is something that is very difficult, which is no doubt that's correct. It's the exam that pertains to qualify the people into an aspect and filter out the best out of the pool of the most competitive people, and that's when the competition arises because it is seen that most of the people tend to get an average marks while they write their answers, and to make a difference is how you write the answers, because we have grown in a society wherein we have written answers since the start of our lives. We have written answers for our school examinations, college examinations, then we have also written a lot many articles, essays, etc. But then the difference comes up within the civil services examination and your university examination, wherein the demand of the answer is very different, and hence that becomes something that needs to be addressed just so this entire process is simplified. Over the time, we have time and again discussed how to address a question, because that's where the problem arises, that people tend to fail at identifying the demand of the question, because it is very important that we identify the demand of the question, since if that is something which is not done by the people, then the failure is something which is rest assured. Hence, the very first thing that one must know while starting to write for the answers is to address to the demand of the question, because it's mostly seen that in your GS 1, 2, 3, 4 questions, there are questions divided into 2 to 3 parts. The questions that are direct and which are majorly in one part only, they are rather more easier to address to. But then there are questions that are basically consisting a lot many related aspects, which is why addressing to all of those is an important task that an aspirant, a sincere and responsible aspirant, must recognize. Post which, identifying the keywords is something that you all must note, because most of the people tend to fail at identifying the keywords and they tend to just address the question in a very generalized way, and that's where they fail. That's where they do not get marks at all even after writing up the answer, and that is the situation that we have to ignore at all times and avoid for ourselves. So that is something that we are going to address in this session today as to how to write an effective answer. Before that, also remember that for every question you mostly get 7 to 8 minutes, and these 7 to 8 minutes you have to use as wisely as you can. Per se, you get to a question wherein you take approximately 9 minutes, then try to make sure that the other question that you do is completed within 6 minutes, because we need to complete the examination on time, and that is what is also seen by the examiners as to address that whether or not this person was able to manage his or her time. Hence, we need to be very mindful while writing our answers, and we need to be very careful in terms of addressing to the demands of the question paper. Now, let's quickly discuss certain more things that must be known to an aspirant before that person starts his or her answer writing practice. Now, the very first point is, as I said, understanding the demand of the question. Post which, you need to identify what content should go in this particular answer. Post that, you need to align the content so that your entire answer looks very coherent and organized, because It won't make sense. If it won't make sense to the examiner, then of course you won't get any marks, even after you feel like I have written the best answers of the world. Hence, it should make some sense to the examiner. Whatever you are writing must be interrelated, and it should not be like that you have just put up and dumped certain facts on your answer sheet. That is something that we need to be very careful of. Then, structuring of the questions, structuring of your answer is something which becomes very important, because most of the people struggle here. They don't know where to start, where to end, because an ideal answer needs to be written in a format which is introduction, body, and conclusion. And it must be made sure that in your introduction, your ambit of the question is discovered and addressed to. Your body consists of example, case study, and related aspects. Per se, there are some policies or whatever matter is present to you in terms of facts, stats, all of those must be addressed in this particular part of your answer. Then there is conclusion, wherein you need to end your answer by addressing to the entire demands of your question altogether, and you must sum up the entire content that you have written, which of course does not mean that you are going to repeat everything that you have written in the body and introduction. It should be coherent, it should make sense, and it should also provide a gist of it. That's how smart you will have to be while writing your answers. Then speed, as I said, that you need to manage your time very effectively, and that's where the game changes, because most of the people tend to leave their examination and they feel like the questions are left from their end because there was a time crunch, and that is something that we have to avoid as sincere aspirants. Then there are embellishments relates to your structuring basically, but then it is more focused on the aspect of your presentation. In presentation, under embellishment, what all can be done? So basically you can make flowcharts, you can make diagrams, you can highlight your key terms or underline, or majorly beautify your answer as much as possible, while keeping in mind that you do not run out of time. Also, one thing that needs to be taken care of is flowcharts should not contain more than 2 to 3 words. I have seen people who majorly write statements to statements in their flowcharts. That is something that should not be done, because understand that UPSC asks for a certain word limit, and in that word limit you need to give the maximum output of whatever knowledge you have. And flowcharts are the best way to do it, because it saves your words, and you can utilize those words that are saved in your flowcharts, in your diagrams, at a later point of time. But that doesn't mean that you are going to make text heavy diagrams and text heavy flowcharts. That is something that you need to be very smart of while making a choice as to what embellishment you want to use. Again, in terms of highlighting and underlining, it is seen that in most cases people tend to fail to understand what one must underline, because see, an examiner does not has a lot of time. So if you are going to mark up words which do not make sense, which are unrelated to the question, then you are going to definitely fail, because the examiner will think that you have just highlighted some xyz words which are not related. It just highlights the fact that you know this. It is regardless of the fact that the within content is so rich. It does not matter if you do not highlight things clearly, if you do not highlight things as they should have been. So even this particular aspect must be carefully done. Then we have the aspect of beautify, which does not mean that you'll have to have a very good handwriting. An average handwriting will also do. Just that your answers must be clean, clear, concise, and within the limit to read with. Understand that you can also structure your answer while just making the headings and writing your answer, like writing the within content later, because that needs to be very crisp, that needs to be very specific, since we also have to address to the time and word limit. So that are the things that y'all as serious aspirants must keep in mind. Now, in order to put together all of these aspects and address to a beautiful answer, you need to analyze, practice, and explore PYQs as much as possible. Because if you're going to do this, if you're going to practice lots and lots, then of course your answers will be very beautiful, your answers will be very meaningful, and your answers will yield you marks that will in turn make you a future officer. So I hope that this particular session was of some use to you. And if you need more strategy sessions, if you need more of your problems to be answered, feel free to comment down in the comment section and let us know about your issues, because at UPSC Warriors, we aim to simplify your preparation. With this is me, Nandini, your educator for the day, signing off. If you did like the session, then please drop in a thumbs up, comment down, and share as much as possible with your peers. Thank you so much for watching.